decided to bring together some people that I've worked with over the years. One of them being Kingsley James, who runs IBCL, who's been with me on the journey of AMA. I think if there's not been an AMA that Kingsley James is only about 2, or the ones outside Nigeria, but all the rest, we've worked together on branding and understanding the value chain of what this industry can really bring to the table. So, whereas, I know that people will keep coming in and going out, but I think that we should start because we're all very busy people, and then we'll also share his presentation today with all the other people that we need to send it to. So, Mr. Kingsley James, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kingsley James. To borrow from a popular Nigerian artist who says, my name is X, but that's not what my Jamaican friends call me. So if you hear Kingsley James around, you probably will know, may never know who he is. In this circle, among those who know me, my name is KJV. And deliberately so because I used to call myself the purist and the righteous one. And so I'll spend a few minutes talking about why I'm here before they get the technical side sorted. First, let me thank the organizer, let me thank Antipace for calling me. It's a big risk, in my view, to call someone outside the industry to speak on a core industry matter. And why would I say so? And, first, I'm not a movie producer. I think I did a stint with Kunle Afolayan, what you guys popularly call Wakapas, in his film Irapada one time. He hasn't paid me till today. No, it's not meant to pay me. But that's, to the best of my knowledge, my public intervention as far as movie making is concerned. So I won't call myself an out-to-out practitioner as far as this your industry is concerned. I understand that some core brand people are also here. I'm not sure if a brand meeting is called that I'll get a front row thing. And not because I don't understand brands. It's been my call for about 20 years. But because I've never worked in any organization as brand manager, marketing manager, never. So that's why I concluded that it is a very big risk to have an outsider speak on a core industry issue. However, I think I'm very qualified to talk about this topic. And I thank Antipace for giving me the opportunity. I've worked with brands for about 22 years now. Started as a rookie, but I think I've worked with almost all the big brands in Nigeria in one way or the other. And in my intervention, I've found out and learned a lot of lessons. And today, I'm going to share what is a fusion of textbook knowledge and more of what is practical, what today we can find. So, if the technical stuff is sorted out, the topic is clear, I don't know how many minutes I have, so I'll try to rush as best as possible so we can get around to what we do daily. The first thing that I asked myself was, okay, I've been asked to stay around this table, so forgive me. I actually wanted to move close, but I think there's a technical aspect of this place that I need to respect. The first thing I asked myself when I saw the topic was the word ecosystem. And I said, okay, what exactly is the motion picture ecosystem? What can we today agree, even though there might be various intellectual definition for what it is, but what can we agree is the motion pictures ecosystem? And in my view, this encompasses the entirety of activity from practitioners that are embedded in that industry or that that fusion that we could easily call the ecosystem. If we go to the first page, I did a list of, it's not an exhaustive list, I did a list. Could you help me go to the next slide? So, yeah, I did a list of some of the things that may occur to us. Now, it's very easy for us to conclude that the motion picture is same as the movie industry. And let me come home. It's very easy to confuse Nollywood, or to represent Nollywood as exactly what motion picture does represent. The truth is, that is just a subset of the exact topic we're talking about today. So, I don't know, we couldn't go to the next? Well, I'll speak on. So, the general thing that we know is, of course, movie makers, producers. We, of course, know that there are writers, those who are briefed to put this direction and script together. Some of them are confused as content producers, but writers are definitely different. But again, we also have content producers who not only write, but they take out the technical aspects of production out of the writing. So, of course, we have platform owners, and with platform owners, I mean those that own either still or digital base for us to express this creativity. For instance, Terra Culture is a platform base. Today, Ebony Life's Place is one, right? And then we talk about distribution channels, either digital or otherwise. We also know that there are sub-stakeholders like costumers, our beautiful ladies who does makeup, fashion designers, we have printers, we have equipment manufacturers. I remember when is it Icon is called now, came into Nigeria, they were very focused about the movie industry. And of course, when we say equipment manufacturers, the whole gamut of it, from light, sound sets, to electronics, electricals, and all of that. We have logistic companies who, of course, play a pivotal role in moving finished products from one end to the other. We have film festivals that we sometimes just ignore, but they are very huge platforms for especially filmmakers that wants to be global. We have award ceremonies like AMA. I saw my brother who have organized Born Award for over 10 years, has journalist. And beyond being a journalist, he's more popular for that platform today. We also know about technical partners, animators, editors, musicians, and set builders. We know those ones that we rarely talk about, who are the critics, those who sit down in their room and say, this movie, rubbish, or this movie, thumbs up, right? They are part of this ecosystem because they do have very huge opinion. In fact, in most lands, they are paid to share their opinion on a certain movie or set of movies. There are critics, there are connoisseurs, there are editors. And I know if I take the microphone round, we have people who speak to different members of this ecosystem. What I'm trying to do is to let us take our mind off that greed of just the filmmaker and expand it slightly to see that there are core people who we need to look at. And for brands and brand representatives, this is where your eyeballs should be at. Because if you focus more on the movies or the movie makers or the filmmakers, you might be looking at only a subset of this ecosystem. And just for me to digress a bit, when you watch a music video, what comes to your mind? I've been part of what do you call us now? Somebody, the body that are critic, no, not critic. We do study and then reward some musical creativity. So what do we call those people that jury? Yeah, thank you. So I'm part of jury for some of these people, and when we get to the point of the person who, the award for best video, we worry about who should we award it to. Is it the cinematographer? So you guys call it the gentleman who carried the camera, who conceptualized the idea? Should he be the one to win that award? Or the artist who sang the song? Or could we give it then to a creative director whose idea was it to even shoot a video in the first instance? We usually have that argument many times. But what that tells me is that the aspect of motion picture far exceed the area that we sometimes limit it to. So I will permit you, for sake of time, to fill in the gaps as to those people who are members or part of this ecosystem. What do we know? Data in Nigeria, and indeed Africa, is sometimes very debatable. Sometimes we get data and we're unsure. But there are some, I've limited myself to what we can't argue over. So I went to pick data for only the movie industry, i.e. what we do in the movie. So I didn't get data for those who shoot music videos, for instance. I can do that. But what do we know? Today, we know that the second largest film industry in the world is here amongst us. Second. Just second after India. In the volumes, and now we need to be careful when we use these figures, because I'm a data person, we need to be careful what we say it is. Second in the number of movies that comes out from a certain region. We are number 2. Second to only India. Far, no, not far, ahead of America. Because, my brother, we dey shoot film for here. Okay? So, that we know. In this space, we employ directly, and I need to emphasize on the word directly, over 1 million people. And when I say directly, remember I spoke about the ecosystem earlier on? I'm saying those who actually make movies I'm not talking about the guy who spends his time branding the venue for the movie premiere. No, no, no. Even as part of the ecosystem, it's not captured in this figure. So directly, this industry employs in Nigeria over 1 million. Data about the contribution of these industries is not very clear, but we went as high as 2.3% contribution to GDP in 2016. And it has hovered between 1.3%, 1.5%, depending on which data you are using in 2020. It will also interest you to know that, I'm yet to say this, that there's actually an industry that grew by 478% between 2016 and now, in spite of the COVID. No, just this industry. I need to shock you because data kind of just interests you, gives you some bit of goose pimples. So this industry that we're looking at, very small, that we think did take a hit, but in spite of that hit, it grew 478% between 2017 and 2020. And then, for instance, in 2029, total movies recorded that were released in Nigeria was 700. In 2020, we have 2,599. And we'll still get back to discussing how that happened. But that's the industry we are talking about here today. Can we engage the value system? The general one that is known is advertisement. So you want to shoot a film. You do your script and you figured, okay, I want money, so let me write that somebody is building a house into this film so that Dangote Cement can come and put money. You know, it's the pedestrian thing that we see, and there's nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying is that advertisement is one connecting point between brands and this ecosystem called the motion picture ecosystem. And when we say advertisement, we mean the entire gamut of it. The entire gamut of it from end to end, from promotion to product placement to all of it. And we see that regularly in our films today. Right? But the world has slightly moved beyond that. I mentioned the other time that products are launched using a film. The entire product is launched using a film. Okay, maybe we should make this, since there are industry leaders here, do we have any film that we know that launched a product? Film. That, okay, maybe not even launched a product, that launched a brand of a product. Any film we can remember? And it doesn't have to be local. Phone swap. Phone swap. Even transporter. Right? When the LR4 was to come out, even the successive Mercedes-Benz were tested. Right? So brands today should not just feel that they should go very traditional. They can engage this ecosystem. You can actually have an entire film made because you want to launch or show a certain core of your product. The other thing is that we can also be futuristic. And I've mentioned that the other time. Do you have a product you want to repackage, remodel, reintroduce to a market segment? The film is an art form that you should consider. And I've told you why. The reach, the simplicity, the adaptability. So consider it. And you can find yourself definitely getting feedback for a product that is still in the works. 10 years ago, the idea of drinks that also excite males' sexual drive is available, but it's not popular. Do you get me? It's available, but it's not popular. But therein come a Ghanaian brand, and they brought a small plastic bottle drink, and then the only core they kept mentioning is that this can drive your sexual drive. When male takes it, they become more active. Today, in Nigeria alone, just walk down and stop by a regular store, you will count 40 of that kind of brand. 40.
What was the original brand? Because every other thing origin has taken over the name of the first one.
No, the first one is Ghanaian. Let me remember that. Let me see. I wrote it down. But it's not Casapreco. The real name is not Casapreco. Alobo.
Yes.
Alobo was the first. Alobo was not the first aphrodisiac drink. They've been available. If you ask them, they can tell you. Many years they've been there. However, they focus on that core and they use the motion picture to drive it. That's my own interest today. They use the motion picture ecosystem to drive it. And because it becomes stupendously successful, it has backed more than 40 for a Guinness to then adopt that, and we have it on good authority that drink actually saved Guinness for a whole year. Right? So it's not just a waste of time. It's a drink that when Guinness took a curve, that stabilized it for a bit. The origin branch of the aluminum bitters. So my point is, there's a lot of stuff that comes with developing brands and products. We are looking at the aspect that motion picture plays, the role they play in ensuring that this is done. So yes, we can also commission franchise products. Now, how do I mean? There are spin-off from some of the products that we have today. When I say spin-off, there's a core, there's a particular product, and then there are byproducts. And many a times the byproducts are unknown, save for the main product. The aspect to bring them back to life, the platform, the tool that is easy to use and communicate such is when you begin to engage this ecosystem. Of course, there are spot rights, there are media promotion, and this I want to spend a little second talking about, the last two. See, sometimes brands will say, I don't have your kind of budget, to me I cannot support you. I don't have that money, because I've seen some movie producers' budget. And sometimes small companies will say, I cannot engage, but you can. Just identify that aspect of the film producers need that you can cover. And media is one of the easier ones. Because you already have a media budget. And I'll give you an example. So you have 2 slots per week for 10 weeks in a particular radio station that is meant for you. Right? You probably will have paid them upfront, and the money has been spent, whether you use it or you don't. However, there comes this motion picture platform that has opportunity to create more eyeballs. You can just tell him, I will give you my slot, in exchange for the little opportunity you can give me to also advertise myself. So don't run away because you see the budget, 10 million, 50 million, 100 million. Yes, don't. There are areas that are, some people just have a flat and the people want to shoot 2-3 scenes in that flat. Why not? Why not ask for a barter arrangement to take off the cost of the producer and give you visibility within that platform? The truth is, as you'll see later as I present, what you ask for, just ensure you get. You don't have to ask for that banner where you hear Access Bank sponsors. No, you don't have to. You can take your own space and enjoy. So, for you to approach a brand, what do we think the brand guys want? What do we think the brand guys want? And this again is my extrapolation over time of what I believe that they want. So, like I said earlier on, it's a fusion. No, the next one is a fusion. It's a fusion of extreme academic research and realities on the ground. So I've acronymed it clarity, deliberately so. The brand guys want the filmmakers or the practitioners or the guys who organize awards or film festival to be clear. So, what do I mean by clarity? First, your proposal must create opportunity that give the brands top of the mind recall. See, brands are not filmmakers. And quite frankly, some of them don't even watch movies at all. But anything that will make the audience remember their brand, they will spend money there. So, it's not necessarily that you have to come and defend that when I released this movie, or when I did this TV series, or when I engaged this art form, your sale moved from 8% to 40%. No, it's not all the time. You just need to engage in a manner that those who know the brand keep knowing and new ones start knowing. And when they want to think about that product in its range of competition, your job is to help people to say, this is the brand I give. An example. If I mention the color yellow today, what brands come to your mind? Sorry? MTN. It's not by error. MTN employed, forgive me, a madman called Adrian Wood. When Adrian Wood came, he's a marketing person, he's not an accountant, he doesn't care, he just wants to blow. Adrian Wood was painting bridges yellow, painting. Adrian Wood wear yellow glasses, yellow suit, yellow shirt, yellow tie, yellow shoe. But do you know any other brand that is yellow? See, it's taking time. What? Thank you. Lipton, what color is it? How long has Lipton been before MTN came? So you see, the brands don't kid with how you remember them. So if MTN has gone so hard on the color that it's difficult for any of us who are professionals and top leaders in our team today to even remember a competing brand to that color. So if we have come here today and we have done a yellow patch there, a yellow patch there, a yellow patch there, a yellow patch there, you all will go home thinking MTN has paid money to this show. You know that? That's why we need to check we need to be serious about our brand, our film, showing to the brands that it will help people remember you. Brands will latch on to that opportunity. This forum is not to discuss why are we not there, so I won't get. I know some reasons, and you guys know most. But I'm saying the comparison is an evidence that the growth opportunity is a lot today. When I was watching the Sunrise Daily, a professor came to say, we are just, we have been saying Nigeria, we are borrowing. The guy said, we have only borrowed 21% to something, is it to GDP or something? And he said, look, we still have opportunity to borrow up to 41%. Even though, I don't know, statistics is a very devilish thing. It depends on which area you are looking. So that tells us there's humongous potential in this industry. We also then need to form a robust platform where this consistently meets. So thank you very much, TPs. This need to happen more consistently. I can see empty tables. That's fine. But it means that we need to tell our people that we need to continue to interrogate this conversation and bring brands along. Because if they don't see it, they don't feel it, we don't know them, I expect that today there will be a lot of brand guys here. And the immediate take home is that you have the opportunity to exchange numbers with an authority here. And so the day the person says, oh, I'm doing something, you can reach out and say, I know that you have that demography, I want to speak to you. It's because I know part of the problem sometimes that brands want to reach, I don't even know who to reach out to. They don't. They want to reach out. They say, okay, we've heard about Omogeto. So who should we call? Oh, it's Pukakidele. Do you have a number? First, brand can have it. So they say, oh, call several. By the time they do it, they will land between Antipis or Shew. No two of them have, a lot of numbers. So they now send Funke's number. And you call Funke from today till next week. Funke herself, she's not with the phone. That phone is what the PA is carrying on. And the PA is now more celebrity than Funke herself, but she's never carrying the phone. What will the brand do? What will the brand do? The brand guy will look for the next available movie to put his money on. So, thank you, Auntie, please. We need consistently this kind of smaller platform that we can network. Those big platforms are good, but let's be able to do one-on-one and find value in our interaction. Of course, I've spoken about access and networking. The other thing is, and that will speak to Atipis herself and her people who are doing a beautiful job in the regulatory aspect. Some policies are clear. Some laws are known. And so, it's only when I put my money somewhere, somebody will now tell me, don't you know that section 8 subsection 3 so say this movie cannot appear by 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's what I target all these things. The movie is making noise. Everybody's talking about it. So I said, let me put my money. You have quote. I said, it's censored. Those guys that write SP, it's censored, so it's between 9 p.m. Clarity about this thing is not to be discussed in your meetings, man. We need to put it in public spaces. And don't assume that they know, or we know, we don't. Be consistent about putting those policy directions, those laws, those regulations, especially as it relates to that tiny space between brands and practitioners. Please put them out. So that we already know. So you can't tell me that after I sell cigarettes and then I decided to put my money on Rattlesnake. Was that Rattlesnake? It's a movie I watched recently. Rattlesnake 2. And I was hoping that by the time this gets to a certain platform, it will be streamed, shown and then a regulation comes and says, no, this particular movie can't do this. And I'm unaware, and I've already given money long before the movie, because when I saw the synopsis, I felt this is something that will appeal to my brand. Or I then say, in addition to promoting you, I want to put your billboards in all my billboard space. And you say, no, you can't. It has one element of secret in it. And so, while you are right, I'm saying, I don't know. So we need to very clearly speak to those policies and laws and regulations that will help brands make fine decisions that will also draw them to our industry. And the future is today. Collaboration is the key. The brands can survive by themselves, and the filmmakers can survive by themselves. Good afternoon.
Is a start of a dialogue series from the AFA, and we intend to continue. I was just saying to Frederick Atigo, who's been my producer, that the dialogue series has to continue. We did reach out to a lot of brands, and we did reach out to the law firms, we reached out to TV stations, we reached out to everybody that is in the ecosystem. And the reason I started this mainly is because I've been on most of the sides, really, of this business. Being a filmmaker, being an event person, and then also now running the Association of Movie Producers as the president. The movie producers our association has 5,000 registered members across 21 states. When I say 5,000, when I came into office, we had like maybe a book that says we have like 10,000 people across Nigeria, but we actually found, so when we revalidated, we have 5,000 that we can say are active members that we can reach out to at any time. Then you have MOPAN, the Motion Picture Practitioners of Northern Nigeria, who have a database of 25,000 producers, filmmakers from Northern Nigeria. You have TAMPA, which is the Yoruba filmmakers, that has a database of over 15,000 people. You have OMPAN, which is in the southeast, which has almost 100,000 people that are filmmakers, actors, directors, everybody coming together. Then you have the Actors Guild of Nigeria, which got, the last time we checked at our meeting on Monday, they mentioned that they had over 500,000 people, and we said we must have over 1 million, because everybody wants to be an actor. That's the truth. And then, our reality. We have a young population, extremely young, and extremely interested in the creative industry. That's the thing that I would like brands to understand. But it's not just Nigeria, the whole of Africa is young. And that's why the whole world is looking this way. And yet, the people here who are here are not seeing it. They're not seeing the numbers. They're not seeing. So just for your information, between Netflix and Amazon, maybe in the next 1 year, they'll probably be spending close to $1 billion within Nigeria and maybe just some parts of Africa, but I think most of that money will be in Nigeria. Nigeria is peculiar. I say this from a point of view that we have the highest content producers in Africa today. But I am unfortunate to say that we have the poorest producers in Africa as well today. Because the figures we get are not comparable to figures that some of our counterparts in South Africa or Kenya or even Ouagadougou or in Ghana even right now, or even Rwanda are getting. And that is because of the lack of understanding of the ecosystem. So the average filmmaker, like I'm just going to use Asaba as one of the film portals, and I actually went there as the president of the Association of Movie Producers to train my producers, and I actually did the training myself because I discovered that every single month in Asaba, 400 films are made. 400 films on average are produced in Delta State every month. Now, if they're doing that film at just 1 million naira, that means that 400 million naira is spent in Asaba by filmmakers every single month in the economy of Delta State, from location to whatever, from hotels in Delta State to buying water to doing everything. But the average film is not 1 million naira, so it's more. So you're looking at it, but I'm saying worst case scenario. So you can imagine the amount of billions that this industry is putting into that economy on a monthly basis. For us as filmmakers, are we making that money back? No. Some people, I discovered a producer in Asaba that shot 11 films. She hasn't sold one. She just raises money, goes on set. It's the true thing. The young people, actually some even raise money and go and tell somebody they want to make a film, and they make films. They haven't sold them. But what I want everybody to realize is that for brands, every single brand, the long life, let's use films that we know. When you put the money inside the films that we produce or inside our events, you're actually giving your brands a longer lifetime on the shelves of the world, not just Nigeria. Because what happens is Aquafina is put into a film. That brand, even if it's just put in there for 30 seconds, is going to be watched by millions of people. The average Nigerian film is seen all over Africa. Now I'm going to ask, half of the people in this room, if I say to you, what is the most popular channel on African Magic? I don't know what to, okay, what's the most popular channel in Nigeria or in Africa at the moment? Does anybody, can you think about it? Do you think there's any of those big channels for Western films? What, does anybody want to take a guess? What is a big channel? Huh? Which one? African Magic, Epic. Epic. Huh? Oh. Epic across Africa. Epic. And that is the one channel that the average filmmaker in Nigeria, when I say to you, we don't even watch. Do you understand? But we produce a lot of it. But it's the one channel that you walk into a hotel in South Africa, or you'll see the staff watching it. And you're wondering what's so special. But you even go to Barbados and you find people watching it. A lady from Jamaica wrote to the Association of Movie Producers and said, we want films for a TV channel in Jamaica. And I'm like, okay. And she said, we want epic films, the ones that show people in the villages and how lifestyle is in the villages. And I said, why? Because I didn't understand why. It was peculiar to me. And she said, oh, because it gives us a sense of belonging. It gives us a sense of finding out a little bit more. And I started to, and that was one of the things that made me actually go to Asaba, because I wanted them to raise the quality and the standards of the products that they were bringing out, in order to be able to raise the value of what they would also get out of it. What I would like to see brands do is work with all the guilds and associations, where most of them are represented here. And the next project that we are working on, listen, the average filmmaker in Nigeria does not have collateral. And our IP is of no value at the moment, which is an ongoing discussion. So intellectual property rights and all those things are beginning to become real issues for us. So what do we try to do here? We've tried to say to ourselves, how do we bring ourselves together with the guilds and everybody and work through a process of not just, and for me personally as peace, all my life I've done nothing else but creativity. Yes, I'm a lawyer, but that's mom's degree. I never feel to mention that it was for her. But I've been a filmmaker and a creative all my life. And I understand the problems that I have seen from England to America to here and the rest of Africa. And the biggest problem we have is finance. But it's available. But how do we get hold of it? So we actually set up the 100 Film Project. Like you can see, it has all the guilds and associations within the motion picture industry there. And what it is that we will train to work. The films are going to be what we call basic films. So we will have people producing films that are from 5 million, 10, up to a maximum of, I think it's 50 million. And the 50 million will not be many. The most films are actually going to be within the 5 and 10 million naira range, because it's the ones that we are sure we can actually make sure that the turnover comes back to it and follows through. Now what this will have is, it's an opportunity for us to get the brands involved at this stage. And everybody, I mean, even the lawyers are here, we expect to use this to teach the whole system of how do you actually produce a proper film? How do you do this? How do you actually go through the production process of making sure you have contracts and you follow through with the idea that the distributors are involved before you even begin to start shooting the film, etc., so that you already know that there is a market space. So that's why I keep calling it as a, skills to work project, basically. And what we're saying to brands here is that, look, you can get involved. So we will actually write in the brands into the scripts that we're doing. So the Script Writers Guild will be working. So we will call for story ideas. There'll be walkthroughs, workshops to process the whole engagement of the scripts, to the point where we feel that both the producers and the distributors will be willing to make sure that these films are sold, etc. We've talked to the television stations. So even starting with some of the television stations is where the guild, the Producers Guild, has gone in and negotiated 2 to 3 hour time slots on a series of television stations across Nigeria. And basically, we're going to have the movie hour, or movie 2 hours built nationally, whereby people can then, brands can actually place their ads within that ecosystem as well of the TV channel. So we would have from TV to cinema, to SVOD, to video on demand, and all the other platforms that you can actually relate to. Now, even if we're just talking about Africa, the truth is that I always say to people, don't underestimate the power of the Nigerian film industry in ability to sell your brands. Just imagine Aki and Popo today. I remember, I think it was 2006, I went with Aki and Popo to Sierra Leone. The president of the country had to bring somebody to get us out of the streets. They pushed down the boys were on what is it called, a jeep. It was actually pushed down by people. And he had to send his, the president's special squad was called the Juku squad, then they actually came and had to rush us out of there. Anywhere we went to, it was the crowd. Aki and Popo could not walk out of the airport to the streets. Students came out. It was like presidents came to Sierra Leone. 25,000-seater stadium overflowed with people. I have it on video. It's not like I'm not telling a story. I was there. We needed to leave town to the next village. We had to leave at 2 o'clock in the morning because they found out where the hotel we were staying is. So we had to go out through the kitchen. How did these people know Aki and Popo? The Nigerian film. The Nigerian film. I've had experiences where in Amma we brought the big American stars and they walk into the room, be it Danny Glover, be it Angela Bassett, and yeah, people know them. But let Genevieve have walked into that same room, it's a totally different thing. The crowd. Africans have come to love the brands and the stars that we have built in Nigeria. But I haven't seen the Nigerian brands actually take ownership of these things that we have actually built in totality. And like maybe KJV said, it has been almost impossible for us to complement each other because there's a vacuum of a relationship between brand managers and the Nigerian film industry in general. So I would like to see a case where, using a project like this, we will begin to work together and begin to move forward. We've given them, I'll make sure that everybody here has a copy of this presentation. Now go back to that. We've given an idea of films whereby notable product placements have happened. You've had Figurine, which had Lucozade Boost. The Interview, which had Glow. We had Mini Cooper, an Italian Job. A Trip to Jamaica, which had Glow as well. And Heineken does a lot with New Money, etc. So it is there. You can't always infuse the brands. And it's obvious that this works. Otherwise, big companies abroad will not go out of their way to want to work with this. And what I would say to Nigerian brands is this. If all the big streaming companies and all the big TV stations abroad are coming into Nigeria and into Africa to actually want to invest their money here and get content, then isn't that speaking to all of you about what the possibilities really are with a collaboration between all of us to help the Nigerian economy actually diversify totally to the new content, growth and wealth? I think it's there. It will also grow the brands across Africa and across the world. And that's one thing that I would want people to keep understanding. Our films do travel. Piracy, as bad as it was, helped to make Nigerian films very popular across Africa and across the world. So you go to places like Tanzania or Zimbabwe, and 99.9% of the films that you find there are pirated movies. But that is also why our stars are as big as they are all over the world. I remember one year we did a competition on People's Choice. I think that was the year Jennifer came out. And at that time, I was in a collaboration with Africa Magic. And what happened was voting. That's the first time Funke Akindele won Best Actress at AMA. It was based on votes. AMA is not a Viewer's Choice Award, but that year we did want Viewer's Choice specifically for that. And 90% of the voters came from Kenya, not Nigeria. That was how she had most of the votes. And if you look at how, I mean, people say, why are you doing low budget films? I said, at the moment, the ROI works better on the low budget films. It's going to take a little while for us to keep building up our own ecosystem. We need more community cinemas. We need more screens. And that will help the box office. But also, television is key. But we can't do television if we don't have brands associated with us to actually be able to put these films on television. That is not, I'm not talking about satellite television now. I'm talking about normal terrestrial television. That is the NTAs, the AITs, the STVs, those normal television stations. Whether we like it or not, there are people that still watch them in rural areas. Go to northern Nigeria, go outside Lagos, you're going to find people watching them. So we do need the brands to be able to penetrate normal TV. And we can't do it without you. The association today, as movie producers, I think within the catalog of the last the last 5 years, we have 7,500 movies made by members of our association in about 5 different languages. And this is just us collating at the moment. We have not even gone halfway. We're just asking our members to give us from this. So if we go back a few years, we're going to know the kind of numbers that we have of these films. And it's going to be quite a lot. But I'm just saying that these are films done all over Nigeria, in all the languages. And it's going to keep growing. Because the more we look at it, you think that as Delta is bad, and it is. And it's just the beginning to grow. They're doing like 40, 50 movies every month. Yes, people talk to me about Northern Nigeria, but as I became the president, I actually went to Gombe because Gombe was one of the people that traveled all the way to Delta State to vote for us during the elections. And I found ladies making films in Gombe. And they shoot. They just get a camera and they shoot. Even in the war time where you're saying Boko Haram, Northeast Nigeria, they are shooting films. Young people get on set and just shoot. It's a way of just, I think, I say they just go out of their way to get their minds off things by making films. So I have more female members in Gombe. I think, Mr. Tony, I think we have like 30 females and 20 male members in Gombe State. But Northern Nigeria is actually more with Mopan than they are with us. But we do have them, and they are working, and they make Hausa language films. I'm actually going there to train next month. August. We're training female cinematographers in Port Harcourt and in Northern Nigeria as the Africa Film Academy. But what I'm trying to say is that there is work to be done. This is the first of the dialogue series. I think next time I'm going to do it in the evening. I'll learn, I'll keep sending out messages and see the best time that works for the agencies and brand managers. Maybe we can have a cocktail in the evening somewhere and hang out. Maybe that'll be easier than having it during the day. And we talk to have it in Ikeja. Maybe next time we take it to the island, or maybe we should even do a weekend away at one of the resorts where, guys, you guys have to be integrated with us for a whole weekend, and we'll keep talking to each other. But I'm going to let people ask questions and whatever that we can interact. This is supposed to be a dialogue, and that's what we want to do, is to encourage people to know. We have the secretary of the Screenwriters Guild here, Tara West. And we have Pastor Clee, who heads the, sorry, I'm just going to introduce them because these are part of my ecosystem as well, who heads the cinemas. And so that's why I could say to him, what are the box office etc. These are the people that we work together. We're trying to build an industry where there's not so much rancor and there's more unity, and not so that people don't keep saying, oh, those people are not organized. We are. We actually are organized right now in the film industry. We have a leadership, we have an understanding of what it takes to move this industry forward. So when the box office tells you that a film has done these numbers, it's because they are using ComScore. And ComScore is the fact that for all the sales they're making, it's actually going directly to a database. So the fact is that the figure you've gotten of Omogeto is only her box office figures right now. Then, of course, only God knows what figure she's going to get for her Netflix. That will add. But I have a feeling that Omogeto is one of the first Nigerian films that will probably hit ₦1 billion in revenue. But what was unique about Omogeto? Omogeto was a combination of many, many brand elements. She actually had, I think it's over 100 figures, 100 followers in total from all the people, 100 million followers in total for all the actors and actresses she used in the film. So because she had herself, she had Brother Shaggy, she had almost everybody in that film. And she related to the demographics that was core Nollywood. The people in Alapere, Ikotun, Alimosho, those were the people that invaded the cinemas during those periods. It wasn't your usual island crowd. So if you try to watch Omogeto, you would wait in line. If you went to Maryland Mall, forget it. People were standing on that crossing bridge, bikes all over the road, just to watch Omogeto. Now remember that Omogeto's ticket sales were 3,000 naira a piece at that point. And who was watching it? They came from Agege, they came from Ikorodu. We don't have cinemas in these areas yet, but we will have community cinemas very soon in those areas. These figures are because she actually worked with those demographics. She made sure she reached out to the crowd. So if you had wanted to reach that crowd as a brand, that was your opportunity. All those people that do have Indomie, that do drink water, that do buy spaghetti, anything that you sold that was for food item, they do it. Clothes items, yes. So, I mean, the opportunities are many. And even for those of us that have award schemes like Mr. Shenwo of Born Awards, who is here, and myself as Ama, it gives you the opportunity to put your products on boat, the red carpets, the tables, and the fact that never forget that the viewership of these glamorous events is immense. It goes on, and it captures the rest of the world. For us at ARMA, on average, we have like 500 guests come in for the event. And we also travel with our events, so our nominations are normally held outside of Nigeria or in another country within the continent or outside the continent, depending on where we go. But it's for you to understand and keep engaging. Don't keep far from us, because I think our demographics being the youths and who we always relate to, I mean, the average age of my members in the Association of Movie Producers is probably like 21. 20 is that, 20, Mr. Financial Secretary, what's our average age, 21 or 25 for members of the association? Our new members, 21. So you can imagine that, and this is not just that, but for Actors Guild, I can tell you that it will be lower, I'm sure. 14. Huh? 14. For Actors Guild, right? Yeah. That's what we find. Any questions, please? Or comments? Patrick, do you want to? say a few words about like box office and how effective our box office is these days, because a lot of people sometimes doubt our box office figures.
But also talking to investors who look at the industry and say, you guys aren't organized. But we're able to tell them now, look, if a movie is made and goes to the box office, whatever figures you get are verifiable. They are the real figures. And we don't have situations anymore where somebody comes out and claims, my movie has done 100 million. It can be verified. And so when any claims are made about a movie, those claims can be independently verified. And so it gives confidence to anyone who wants to invest in a movie. Either you're a brand manager thinking of your movie and saying, well, how do I invest in this movie? How sure I'll get a return on my investment? The figures are there. If I'm a banker and I want to invest funds from my investors in a movie, how am I sure that I will be able to get a return on my investment? The figures are there. They can be independently verified. And it helps us to try and grow the industry, because we can also talk to government with these figures and say, look, this is kind of figures that we're generating in our industry, in our business. Provide us with more support, because we need it. And this support is going to a lot of the young people in our society that actually need the help that we can get from government. So these things are very important. And just before I close, there are one or two questions I wanted to ask the brand manager with regards to branding. As rightly pointed out, Omogetu has done over 600 million. But when you look at the figures for Omogetu, and this is where these ComSoft figures are very interesting. Where did it sell the most? So if you take Lagos as an example, the highest selling site for Omogetu was on the mainland of Lagos. The cinemas that sold the most are actually on the mainland. But the examples of cinemas that are given by brand managers are on the island. The movies that actually do well are movies that are sold on the mainland of, if you take Lagos as an example, where we generate almost 50% of all our box office revenue anyway. And so for some of us in the cinema business, we say to the brand managers, look to where the public actually comes to watch your movies. Madam Peace mentioned the example of Maryland, where if you go to Maryland, you couldn't watch Omogetu on some days. These are all mainland cinemas. And it's quite interesting that quite a lot of the movies, the Nollywood movies that do very well, it's actually the mainland of Lagos that these movies sell at. Funke Akindele was able to bring her crowd out on the mainland to watch the movies. And this is the same crowd that buys the brands that the brand managers we approach to help us fund businesses that we're involved in. These are the same people we want them to target. But there's often a disconnect between where your movie is selling and where you want it to sell. A brand manager might want it to sell at Ebony Live Cinemas, but the movie might actually be selling at a zone. The brand manager might prefer it to sell at the IMAX, but ICL might actually be a better sale point. Now, one other interesting thing, when we look at the potential that our business actually has. How many tickets do you think were sold to generate 650 million for Funke Akindele? The answer is about 590,000 tickets, less than 1 million tickets in the whole country. So look at the potential. We have 200 million people. And I could ask each one of you, don't you think your movie can sell 1 million tickets in Lagos alone? That gives you an idea of what the potential we have in this business that we're in. The amount of eyeballs that we have not reached, that we have the potential to reach, and therefore the amount of money we can generate. But in order to do this, we need to work together. We need to understand the bigger picture of where we're trying to head. I often ask some producers when they approach me, do you think your movie can sell 5,000 tickets in Ibadan? 10,000 tickets in Ibadan? They say, yes, why not? I say, well, if you can, then you made your money back. You even made a profit. But that's just 10,000 tickets. How many square mile radius is that? Anyway, I'll leave you guys to answer that.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Chidimaro with the agency. Actually, I have a question and then a few reactions to his presentation. I'll start with the question. I know that good thing you're giving us assurance, well, personally, that the box office numbers are verifiable and they're verified and they're accurate. The question is, why don't movie producers publish how much they spend to create a movie? So that gives you a sense of seriousness. So for instance, tell me Omogeto has made 600 million or billion naira. How much was actually used in producing the movie? That way you can see the sense of how big that movie is. Because, and then if the movie is big, if you tell me, oh, Omogeto, we spent 200 million to make this movie and it is verifiable, people can have a sense of, oh, this movie is really big. Not that, oh, the movie is launched and then 2 months down the line, we're hearing millions and millions of naira flying over the place. How will brands take, if brands know that, okay, this project, this is a big project, this could be, many brands work with one particular movie production and that is their marketing activity for the year. And then they spend the rest of the budget promoting that activity, putting it out there, promoting, if I use Big Brother for example, there's some brands of Big Brother that's all they do. The rest of the marketing budget is used to promote that activation or that activity. That's the question I have for the industry. Why is it that a lot of producers and movie makers always shy away from how much they spend producing a movie? And then that sort of gives an indication of how, like you said, Nigeria has the highest talent or highest content makers, but still has the worst paid producers. So if your movie is making so much money and you spend a lot of money putting that movie together, we should be able to have a sense of, okay, how much the producers should be able to earn well, the actors should be able to earn well and gain the seriousness and the respect and the kind of engagement that the industry is seeking. That's on one side. And then to brands and how brands can participate more, I think that's a conversation that is good that we're having it and you guys are taking it a lot more serious. I think that brands, I think he mentioned that brands will always go after the numbers, and that's very, very true. Every brand will go after the numbers. Every brand will go where the eyeballs and the listenership lies, regardless of what the nuances of the marketing director or what. Some brands, once a brand is launched, the brand takes up its own life. Doesn't matter, like you said, a brand manager might want to have it in IMAX, but if it is ICM, you better wear your shoe and enter ICM. If not, the numbers are there. So if producers or movie makers are able to, balkanize these numbers and make it a little more simplified, right? Tell me how many people are going to watch the movie? How many tickets are you going to sell? And there's something called opportunity cost of money. If I'm going to spend, if you're coming to me with a proposal of 50 million naira, and then you're telling me that, I'm going to sell 500,000 tickets. If I put 50 million naira on billboard, how many million of people will see? So by the time I do the cost comparison analysis, you find that it's actually cheaper not to do movie partnership. And I'm just saying this randomly because we don't have the numbers. An average movie producer cannot tell me how many people are going to see this movie total from day of launch in the cinema to Netflix to, you don't have the numbers. So I think that is really what is lacking. A lot of brands going blindly, some of them, and that is why sometimes after that singular experience, they don't want to do it again, or when they're doing it again, they want to ask for everything. Some movie producers, the only thing they can promise you is the premiere, where only maybe 10 or 50 people will be. Everybody's looking for numbers. And for every 1 million naira you're spending, you have to ask what is the cost for that 1,000, for 1,000 people I'm reaching, and what is the best medium to have the best ROI for that 1,000. So until you're able to fix the base, which is how many people am I going to reach if I partner with you, or find a way to balkanize it. It's okay. I think he also tried to mention something like that. For this is the amount. For this is the amount. But what we'll find is that most times come with a bulk pack of, let's pay 100 million, pay 50 million. Big money, and you're not really able to show what the ROI is in clear terms. So I think that if we can, since we're having this dialogue, I think it's the first step of many in the good direction of how tomorrow can be better.
Good afternoon, everyone. I don't know if I'm going forward or backwards, but I'm just going to start first of all by saying I think there's too much emphasis on cinema. Cinema is just the first. And as much as you like numbers, you can't get them. How many people watch your 60-second ads on channels? Are you really reaching the generation of people you want to reach on channels? I used to ask my son, he's 28. I said to him, you don't watch channels news at 10 because we grew up with 9 o'clock news. And my son said to me, everything that they're going to read at 10, they have already seen it online. So are you really reaching that demographic with your advert in the news? That's the first question. The second thing is that brand integration is a lifetime thing. I'm sure a lot of you have just seen Sophia in London on Netflix. Do you know how old that movie is? If there was any brand in there, it's going to get recognition again. But Sophia in London never went to the cinema. All of us know it. So why all the emphasis? I think brands need to stop in this. We're just used to same of the same. We're set in our ways. It's like the way our parents used to watch network news for news. Times are changing. If you don't change with it, you'll leave you behind. That's the truth. I was on air with Inside Out for 20 years plus. Remember, people watched it and they didn't see any adverts. Every time I stood there, I was earning at the very minimum 3 million. State governments were using the program to bring out policies, and I was being paid for it. I didn't need the 60-second ad. I made more money through brand integration than I could ever make with advertising. Because if I show those, there were people telling me, and I'll say, episodes I did 10 years ago are still relevant. That is what it does for you, being part of this creative process. Whether we like it or not today, if any station is here covering this event,
these people are getting advertised. They didn't pay for it. If I was going to use them, and there was a station here, I'll remove all their papers. That's the first thing producers should know. You guys are always advertising people who didn't pay. You need to stop it. If you want to show Coke, give somebody a drink. Coke did not pay you, put it in a glass. If they are not ready to pay, don't work for them. Producers need to get wise. They've been getting too many free commercials. I was watching something and then they were actually shooting an entire scene beside a bank billboard. And I'm like, I hope these people got paid. You producers give too many free advertising, that's why you are begging now. You are driving, so you show a drive scene for 5 minutes. We will see inside the car. They will come down. You will see the make of the car. Nobody paid you. And everywhere that movie goes, you're advertising them. For life. First of all, you need to know your own worth. So that nobody takes you for granted. Let them come and look for you. Right now, there's no reason for anybody to look for you. There's too much free advertising going on. And it needs to stop. For brand managers and advert executives here, I need you to realize that cinema is line one. There are movies that did not do well in the cinema, and today they are number one on Netflix. If you go to airlines, you will see them, in-flight entertainment. Your brand is going everywhere that product goes. I saw some movies for the first time on Netflix and I was wondering why they didn't do well in the cinema. They are cinema movies, they are online movies. They are different markets. Identify first of all what market your brand is trying to reach, so that even you do not waste money. Even on TV, I see a lot of wasteful advertising. Because I know that the people they are targeting are not watching that thing. It's just stereotype, oh, this station does well. And then you just put your ads. Wasted advertising, totally. So all of us have a job to do. The truth of the matter is, apart from cinema, we've done a very good job. Anybody who gives you numbers in this country, including TV, is speculation. It's not based on anything. Whether it is the best TV station, the worst, is all until we have proper audience measurement features. Anybody who is giving you any kind of numbers is based on speculation. So if that is the case, how do you want me to give you numbers when you don't even have numbers? But you are still advertising on TV, because TV is my thing first of all, before movies. I have been doing brand integration for a long time, even before, because I realized that every picture advertises somebody. That's the first thing I learned. The clothes I'm wearing, I can choose to go to a boutique and say to them, you know what, I'm a celebrity. And I can wear your clothes. They do it abroad, why can't we do it here? Well, I don't know how many people have watched Fast and Furious 9. Did you see the amount of advertising in it? There's car, there's so many things. Again, with the producers, it is how do you use them. So I watched a movie that had hunger and maybe Indomie. It was so obvious. If I was the brand manager of those two brands, I wouldn't pay. It was so badly done that it was so obvious. People like to see things and wonder, did they pay for it? Didn't they pay for it? It should blend with your storyline. I think that is what brand managers should be more concerned about. How is my brand? Because even the worst of movies will do better than TV. I'm telling you this as a statement of fact. Because for the rest of its life, that brand is already integrated into that project. And if you know all of this, then you would know that it is the best place to place your brand. All the while that talking was going on, I just kept hearing cinema, and I'm like, after cinema, it goes on Africa Magic or one of the other places, some TV channel. After that, it goes on like 5 other TV platforms. After that, there's in-flight. After that, there's online. There's so many avenues. How do you quantify that as opposed to a 60-second TV commercial? How do you put figures on that? And so for me, I don't think the question is all these numbers you're talking about. I think it has to do with this is a new industry that is growing. I think it is good you take advantage of it and start to grow with it and understand it. I think the question should be, what are the possible platforms that these products will get to? What is the minimum worst case scenario? Because whatever figures anybody gives you is speculation. What is the minimum number of eyeballs? When you put a billboard on Amata Way, how do you measure how many eyes? When you put it on 30, then the eyeballs who see it in Mushi, can they afford it? If 10 people see it in VI and they can afford it, it's better than if 500 people see it in Mushi and it's not relevant to them. So it's not eyeballs. It is also about knowing where your brand should be and whether that product is going to deliver on your brand or to your brand. And so when a lot of times when I attend a lot of these things and I hear the questions, I personally feel that the questions are not really addressing the issue. Thank God for the cinemas who have come and taught us and that they are more organized and they have all these figures. But we still have to get, which is what I think they're working on now, get audience measurements, both for TV, for the other brands, for the other platforms, online apps to an extent, yes. Then let's not talk about the advent of piracy, because it will get to place. I know a movie that was released and in London they were already hawking it. It was still in the cinema, they were selling it. Your brand is inside, even the pirated copy. There's nothing we can do about that. So there's a lot that is not even accounted for. And I think that brands need to willingly come and be part of this process. We all need to learn together, the producer, the brand manager, because it will be of mutual benefit to all the parties concerned. And I'm going to address what she said about knowing how much a movie costs. My answer to that is, why do you need to know how much a movie costs? There are different kinds of commercials. The same commercial somebody shot for 10 million, another person can shoot it for 100,000. If R&D is my friend, what R&D will collect from the nobody that he doesn't know is different from one R&D. There are only some things you can cost for. For the creative industry, and this is what the conventional industry, advert agencies, banks, this is what you need to understand about the creative industry. I can't claim anything. I have a good relationship with a lot of artists, so to speak, actors, actresses. I can have all the big names there and tell you my movie cost 100 million. But it might not have cost 100 million. You just give it hype. Because there are TV commercials that they go and shoot abroad, and when I see them, I wonder why. The only reason I can think of is somebody needed to make money. Because there's nothing in it. So that is not the criteria for how much you invest into a project. I don't think that's my business. Your business is, can this product deliver on my brand? And if I can prove it to you and I ask you for a certain amount of money and I can defend it, then you pay me. How much I spend is not, as far as I'm concerned, your problem. I'm not sure if I answered all the questions.
No problem.
But, I mean, that's how I see it.
Okay, just...
Right, because, so I wear two hats now. I could say I'm an investor, I could say I'm also in the industry. On the brand side, when you say things like, what's the return on investment? And I say to brand managers, or I'll say to CMOs, when they bring their budgets to the board, you have a budget spent for media, right? no matter how much the boss squeezes you, you can never tell them this is the return of investment. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, so you can't, the return on investment is inferred.
It's inferred in,
so in your
equity is,
so you, the brand, has to show equity.
Yes,
you have to show that your equity is strong, and that is sort of inferred that, okay, even as long as, even though I don't know the amount of money you're going to invest in this project, I trust that you're handling the brand in such a way. And your equity is also based on past projects.
Sure.
You need to be able to show that you can.
Correct. So you definitely are not able to quantify. So for instance, I am the brand manager for Aquafina, right? And the product is selling, but then I want to spend X amount this year because I want to showcase the product a lot more. But then I'm only telling you, okay, I'm going to do a billboard out there, but maybe because billboards now is not the thing, and it's Taoma, and I say I'm going to engage Taoma 3 times this year, or 4 times this year. Can Taoma tell me that she's going to sell my product? No, she's not going to tell me that. But then I believe that Taoma has what now? A following of X amount, X million. And because they see her, then they would like Aquafina and they will prefer it over Nestle water, or they will prefer it over Gussie water or something. That's my pitch. And I'm sorry, but the pitch is not different from film. And I'll explain why I said so. I've had the conversation with him, Patrick, and Auntie Peace many times, because there's still a lot more regulation that they need to bring into the industry. So those things that you are asking for, those things, those times that you got your fingers burnt, you wouldn't have had to get them burnt, because you would go into partnership with different production companies, and they will tell you, oh, we're going to do this, and by the time they do it, you realize that the quality is crap, and you can't hold them. But then, because there's no regulation, so there's a lot of work to be done on the inside to make sure things are a bit tighter, things are a bit more accountable. But you see that assurance that you're looking for. And for anybody partnering with this industry, there are 2 things. Either you want to sponsor or you want to be a partner, meaning you want to put your money in and you want to get money out of it. Or you just want to sponsor, meaning you just want your brand to be shown. And if it's that you want your brand to be shown, he said it. He said, you have a budget at the start of the year, and you can then say, look, this is what I want to commit to this industry. Why? Because I know, and he said there are 1 million people employed in this industry. In my head was already spinning when I heard that, because I can imagine the number of things that I can do for those 1 million people. There's health insurance, there's mortgage, there's rent finance, there's so many things that I can do for them, because if I can get them through the bodies that are regulating them, rather than go to them one-on-one, then I know that I can create stuff for them, and they can have better lives that you are talking about. So there is so much to be tapped in this industry, and like Agatha said, we can't shy away from it. Both sides can't shy away from it. Yes, we need to collaborate, but then you see the assurances that you're looking for. So for instance, for the banks, when we started to invest in agriculture, initially it was not structured as well, and people were testing the waters, right? But then it got to a point where you were sure that you have off-takers for the products that you're getting from the farm. Then there was a bit more structure, then you could build your credit process around it. Today, as banks, we have not built credit processes around entertainment. So we still think about approaching them the way we would approach other industries, and it can't work because it's totally different. So this needs to continue, but then assurances, we're all risk takers. So we need to know where we need to, how much we want to stake. And yes, we also need to give assurances to some extent that people are credible, people can be accountable, and all of that. So yeah, that's just my take on it.